Welcome to the Cardone debates. As always, it is Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, hosted by me, Dana. First, we're going to bring up Gary and the other participants. We have some great guests. Gary, welcome.
I'm up.
How's it going, Gary?
Good. Just grabbed a cup of coffee, and I'm just really excited about what we're going to talk about tonight. Dana, have you guys figured out a new exciting topic that we have not covered in the last couple of weeks?
Actually, yes, we have.
I sure hope so, because I heard rumors that you guys had squabbled together some kind of name for a debate, and it was basically the same debate we'd done before. I'm like, oh, I'm going to jump all over their asses if that's the case. What's the topic tonight?
Yeah, that's weird.
Being prepared?
Yeah.
Versus not being prepared?
We're going to talk about convenience versus freedom, actually. So
regarding what topic, though? Like
finances and politics.
Freedom.
This is a philosophy, Gary. I thought you were the philosopher.
Didn't we do self-custody, though, and non-self-custody last week? It sounds a lot like convenience and security.
Look, I don't want to waste everyone's time right now. I'm happy to get into that. Let's go ahead and bring in
my time, actually, because I don't know the topic.
Okay, what do we want to? We don't like this topic. Let's bring the other guests in.
Everybody else in here. Exactly. We have some other guests that may have solutions.
All right, Dustin, what's up? Welcome.
I mean, we
could find Dustin on Twitter.
We could take this a bunch of different directions, but I don't know. I don't know. I've been itching for a political debate a little bit. So we could go philosophy, I'm down, or we could take this anywhere we want. I mean, look, we got Dark Side. We got my man Jerry Katz in the house. We got a great lineup tonight. I feel like we could probably. And this is one of those where Gary is insistent that we start right on time. So we're just going to argue about what we're going to argue about. So just deal with it.
Well, we did tell the audience that we were going to show them what actually happens when we're creating something. 5 people, 6 people have come together. We don't really know each other, and we're all trying to figure it out. I think it's okay. And we're a little screwed up today because Dana didn't do her job. I'm blaming.
Okay, look, this is not centralization versus decentralization. Okay. This needs to be a topic that everybody can chime in on. All right. I've taken everyone's backgrounds into account. Dark, Dustin, Jerry, Gary, you can talk on about everything, but I'm happy to completely scratch out this topic. If this is vetoed, it's vetoed.
It's your call. Your call. I'm ready for whatever.
Hey, we could debate XRP. And Bitcoin.
We could debate the new American Party.
Let's talk about XRP.
The new American Party.
New American Party. If you read the white paper, that's Musk. That's Musk. It's his new American Party. And the last paragraph is Bitcoin as a national currency. It's in there if you read the details. But again, you got to be ready.
So I think XRP. I think we should go because we talked about this on Spaces yesterday.
I hate to beat up on the XRP people. It's just so easy.
Exactly.
I don't want to do that. Okay.
I was just kind of joking. XRP.
Say that again.
I said only if you and Darkside have to be Team XRP.
I prefer more philosophy over XRP. It's too narrow. It's altcoin season, everybody. Okay, we know that. Look at the charts. Probably the last one we'll ever see. We could argue that it's probably the last cycle for your Bitcoin cycle and the last cycle that we'll ever see since it's institutionalized and centralized.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's more interesting to the public. You want to ask them? I mean, how many people are in the room so far? We could ask people. I'm not trying to be difficult. I'll do anything. If we got 587 people. Hey, can you guys repost the room and get some people in here? It's kind of marginal.
Fed versus Congress.
Dana, if you would have worn a prettier dress, maybe more people would have showed up. I mean, could you advertise some of this? We don't advertise. We just drop it on them at the last minute. Fed versus Congress. Who caused the money bill? What an awesome panel. Let's see. Nobody. What
I still like the cycle. Conversation. Yeah, last cycle.
Okay. What side do y'all? Let's pick teams. I like it.
I mean, I think this is the last of it. Maybe in altcoins, it'll stick around, but that's it. It's institutionalized. It's controlled by the big boys today. You can forget the cycles.
I'm with Jerry on this one.
Yeah, the problem is I think everybody is. I got to tell you, I'm not sure how. I can try to defend it. I just don't think it has any water.
I mean, we can argue that the altcoins will keep in the cycle, right? Because that's technology based. I'm a .com loser.
Okay, let's go there because I can deal with that. Okay, Jerry, is that okay with you, Dustin? You cool with being on this side?
Yeah, I'll take whatever side.
Yeah. All right. Dana, let's do it.
Okay, so who are the teams then? Jerry and Dark?
Dustin again.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Jerry and Dustin.
I'll take whatever side.
No, Jerry and Dark are doing the 4-year cycle is done. And me and Dustin are defending the cycle is here.
And will it continue?
Will continue.
That's the big thing.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, another thing that we've changed is we're shortening these times. 3 minutes is too long. We're going a minute and a half. Who's going to make their case first? The cycle is done. Jerry or Dark, or the other side?
We'll let Jerry and
Jerry
Dark.
or Dustin.
Kick it off, Dark.
We let our guests go first.
All right. So,
All right, Dark,
yeah.
you have 1 minute and a half.
All right. So, yeah, the 4-year cycle's done. Arguably, it was done at the last 4-year cycle, although interrupted by choke point 2.0, FTX, Celsius, which I believe were all government operations to try to take down Bitcoin. Look, they can't take down the network, so they tried to take down the user base. But cycling back, pardon the pun, the 4-year cycle's dead. Institutional involvement is just way too strong. We have some of the biggest players in the world, BlackRock, MicroStrategy. All of this will act to minimize any sell-offs. I think that you have to understand that institutions don't like to see huge vol swings to the downside. I think they're okay with them to the upside. But I think that any types of sell-offs will be heavily muted by institutional buying. I just don't think there's a 4-year cycle. And just to add to that the mining reward is so small. We're talking about $45 million a day. That's less than, you add that up per week, and that's less than MicroStrategy buys, in your average day. I don't see it. I don't see any continuation to the 4-year cycle. Matter of fact, I think we're going into a bull market, bear market cycle. I think that's a traditional Wall Street cycle. That's what we're going to see going forward.
All right, awesome. So we have Gary or Dustin to respond. Which one of you guys wants to go up?
I'll go. That's fine. So first of all, Dark Side, if that is your real name, I see a total lack of the ability to critically think in your argument here because it ignores all of the little inside joke. It ignores all of the historical precedent of what actually makes up the 4-year cycle, right? Are we supposed to believe in our euphoria, if you will, that all of a sudden people aren't going to take profits? That as the price goes up, the people who bought in lower and they start seeing X's, that they're not going to take their money out, and that's not going to put strain on all of these new financial products across the board? Of course, right? Now, is it going to be exactly the same? The quote unquote 4-year cycle, I guess it gets down to how we define exactly what that looks like. I think obviously, like, we're not going to take the position that we're going to see the extreme volatility that previous cycles have. I think the 4-year cycle has shown us that it has gotten less and less dramatic with each progressive cycle as the asset class has matured, which is a healthy thing. But the idea that somehow we're just going into a period of up only, hopefully this guy who can't even critically think has some credit default swaps that he can offer me somewhere along the way.
Ready?
Jerry,
All right. You hear me, right?
drop
Okay.
it, Jerry. Bring it to us, man.
I mean, listen, let me make it simple, right?
Please
The 4-year
Please do. Because Dart did
Bitcoin
not make
cycle.
it simple.
Nah, he overcomplicated, but that's why I like him. That's what genius is. So let me make it simple. The 4-year Bitcoin cycle, it's dead. It didn't get murdered. It got outgrown. What used to be a grassroots pattern of, halvings, hypes, parabolic pumps and runs is now a financial instrument wrapped in ETFs, backed by institutions, and traded, like any other risk asset like Tesla. You think BlackRock cares about your little halving memes that you guys have been putting out for the last decade? They don't give a shit. Cycles, they work with institutions. Cycles worked when markets are immature, when they're new, when they're newly born, that kind of things. Today, no way. Don't even, get me started on altcoins, because that's a whole nother thing. But most of them don't even follow Bitcoin anymore. And they follow influencers or front runners or market makers or VC unlocks and things like that. So real investors today, they're not betting on magic math. They're betting on the institutions. Institutions control Wall Street. They control the power. They dump on retail, right? You buy on the rumor, you sell on the news. The 4-year cycles are over. The MicroStrategies, the ETFs, the BlackRocks, you name it. They're in control. And the little fantasy BitBoy, channels and those news updates, they're going to CNBC, boys. And that's it.
I'll say.
Thank you, Jerry.
That's what we get. MSNBC is going to be destroyed. I think they already have been disintermediated, which I think is spectacular, actually. Mainstream media, it's been disintermediated without a token, a coin, or a blockchain. That's amazing to me. I think it's actually like, if you don't think you can break up the financial system, having just experienced CNN, CNBC, Fox News, and all the other ones, no one trusts them or use them anymore. It's the financial system can most certainly break. Look, this is a hard thing to debate because the cycle is most certainly changed. And that change is we have a very, very different investor in the Bitcoin digital asset industry today. I think it's going to look different. A little bit to Dustin's point, like, hey, we have to define what does that mean? Does it mean people aren't buying Bitcoin? I think more people are going to buy Bitcoin without self-custody in this cycle, most certainly. There is a different buyer moving into this market. Is that different? I think it is different. It's a very different buyer. I think in terms of where is my danger? And the danger for me would be in the alt markets, because the alt markets have changed so much that because of the introduction of these institutional products, I think it's really put the guys that are trying to replicate this 4-year cycle, they could get really hurt because they're not actually what's happening with these paper players, for lack of a better word. To me, that makes a good discussion. It's going to be hard for me to say each of these. I don't think each of these cycles have been perfect anyway. So I don't even know what are we debating? Are we debating how to make an investment? I actually think the investment thesis in the next 4 years is probably going to outweigh the prior, but everyone disagrees with that. So in that case, it is changing. But what if it changed? What if it changed on the upside? No one ever talks about that. They always, it's going to contract. What if it doesn't contract?
Well,
In fact, I'm going to say that it will not contract, that it will expand, that we will see this next 4 years is the greatest Bitcoin opportunity ever.
I think we need to talk about the psychology of this 4-year cycle, because I think there are signs that reinforce that the cycle is not going anywhere, which is, as you have success in the market, people inevitably get greedy and they come up with financial products and ways to buy Bitcoin and other things that ultimately become the attack vector that bring us down, which is why we have euphoria and then it comes down. It's a psychology cycle as much as it is just a price cycle. And the example I would give to that is something that we all see as a potential like catalyst for the next, like the end of the euphoria zone, which is all of the paper Bitcoin treasuries, which is instead of telling people just to buy Bitcoin now, we have to get cute. We have to come up with new fancy pants ways for people to be able to accumulate, which gets us away from the original thesis, which eventually leads for a correction down, which is why the cycle remains intact.
What do you
So,
say for the people
mean-
that say, oh, you always say this every time they say, oh, this cycle's different?
well,
Go ahead.
go ahead,
I mean,
yeah,
I'll go
I
back
would
to-
just say,
Yeah.
yeah, I would just say you first have to define what the 4-year cycle was, right? The 4-year cycle was driven by essentially a mining boom and then bust, which then led mining companies to have to fire sale both their Bitcoin and their equipment, and led to an inevitable price decline that was usually quite severe. And then we came out of that price decline as the mining equipment got soaked up into the market, new mining equipment came out, the Bitcoin was absorbed into the market, and then onward we went. That was the prior 4-year cycle. I do agree with Dustin that we are going to have more of a psychology-based cycle. That's your traditional bull/bear market moves. I think they're going to be quite muted, but I think the days of the traditional mining boom bust cycle are done. I would just add to that miners this time around are going to be able to borrow against their Bitcoin rather than selling their Bitcoin to upgrade their facilities. I think we've outgrown the days of complete mining company busts. I think we're in a new world. I think Jerry put it so well. ETFs, BlackRock, you go right down the line. The institutions are in charge. The derivatives markets are in charge. Now, we can debate what's going to happen to the paper Bitcoin treasury companies. I think that's really interesting as it propels the new market going forward. That's a great discussion. But as far as the 4-year cycle, as we've traditionally known it, dead.
No, 100%. So I could sum it up, right? Like, Bitcoin used to be a revolution, right? Where Darkside get his name, right? That's his brand. It used to be a revolution. Today, it's a ticker symbol on Wall Street. And that's exactly what it is. So the cycles will never be the same. Once you go ticker symbol, you're done. There's no more revolution in Bitcoin right now. I do agree with you, Gary. It's probably going to be one of the greatest assets ever in the next 4 years. You want to know why? Because when Wall Street gets a hold of something new to profit with, guess what? They're going to take full advantage of it. It's no more, on-chain analytics and I don't even know all the crazy things I've seen on YouTube channels and how they measure this and, panic zone and fear zone. You know what it is today? It's profit on the balance sheet of BlackRock. That's what it is. And they're in control. And that's why these cycles and by the way, the institutions will fight with each other for profits. That's what really controls the world, unfortunately. So we had our little revolution and now they took over. I can show it to you with Citadel and Robinhood and GameStop. I mean, look what they did there. When retail tried to challenge the institutions, Ken Griffin stepped in and shut him down. Shut him down. He's not losing $5 billion. So who's really in control? But you know what? It was a great revolution for about 14 years. And now the smart money, which is us, we're just going to continue to profit because now they're really going to pump it. Maybe not from 100 to 100,000, but they're going to pump that sucker to 1 million. So forget the cycles. You better start watching CNBC right again. And that's it. That's all I'll say for this round.
Dustin, you want to go, or I have a comment based on what Dark said that got supported by Jerry. They seem to like to talk back to back so they can reinforce the messaging into the brain of our brilliant audience. They will not fall for it, gentlemen. Look, I think to suggest that the miners are out of the, I think miners are gonna. This is what I understood from Dark Side was that the miners wouldn't go through their cycles. I think that's not accurate. I think the miners will fucking struggle. I don't think that there's still gonna be a cycle of price up and down. If you can tell me what the peak is gonna be on Bitcoin this cycle, whatever that period is, we're going to hold on to these cycles just because we're used to them. But if you tell me what the high price is, if the 4-year cycle is based on what the drawdown is, we get to $1 million, we will have an 80% drawdown again. Like, I believe that. The higher you go, the faster, the bigger the volatility and the bigger the drawdown. So we may look back and go, oh, wow, we are most certainly doing this again. And we're at 200 grand. That's actually, in fact, this whole 4-year power cycle, right? I think we're going to bounce right out of it. If we do that, I think some of you guys are going to have to eat your crow, because the concept of, hey, the cycle is going away, I think you mean the cycle is going away and we're going to lose value. And I'm saying, I think you're wrong if the cycle doesn't go away. And I think you're wrong if the cycle actually, Bitcoin really flies for 6 months and bounces out of that whole model. I'll end there.
When I get the minor points really actually fascinating, because I've recently been diving very heavily speaking with a bunch of block space maxis, which is what's interesting as the rewards for the miners change. It's actually really critical that we maintain the ability to flush the system. Like, if we only go straight up in like perpetuity, it's actually unhealthy, because it rewards the kind of bad behavior that we're already starting to see that will only exacerbate as price goes up. So when we hit 250,000 per token, people are going to be making absurd claims about it forever going up. They're going to start offering products instead of just telling people to buy Bitcoin and then learn about it and self-custody it. They're going to create these like fancy, special, novel financial products in order to capitalize on the never-ending price going up. And it's really critical that those people get flushed, which is why the cycles have been designed. And so I think that we're going to see a shift in mining, but the miners are also going to keep having an incentive to watch this thing go down. I think that Bitcoin, in order to protect itself, will have these big drawbacks. I don't think we're done with that.
So I'll just make a comment about miners, and then back to how Wall Street and what you said also there. The halving used to trigger a supply shock, right? Today, cost of energy, miners, the block rewards, they suck. To say that miners will stick here around and institutions won't take over, it's like saying we don't have to subsidize farmers in America. Okay? That's exactly what's going to happen to the miners. They're going to become inefficient. They're going to become worthless, and they're not going to become part of the institutional BlackRock world. And watch, look at their balance sheets. Look at their public companies and stocks. Now, flip to the other side, why institutions in your 4-year cycles are over. I'm an ex-Wall Street guy, and I started, and I can go all the way back to Michael Milken, who invented junk bonds, right? You know why they do that stuff? I was in the dot-com age, right? When NASDAQ just started. Because of the spreads, because of deregulated spreads, Wall Street makes profits on market making and front running and catching spreads. Robinhood all day long. You hit a market order on Bitcoin. Why do you get priced 900 above the market? Because they can do it. When you worked on NASDAQ stocks, we were buying AOL. It would trade at 62 1/4 by 62 7/8. You better believe that. We bought it at 62 1/4 and printed the retail at 62 7/8. So Wall Street loves illiquidity and volatility because they make the market. And when you like Robinhood's the best thing I could see, or even Kraken today, they control that world. You look at the spreads. The spreads mean that the institutions accumulate Bitcoin at a lower level, right? 116,300. And then every market order that comes in from retail, they're dumping it on them at 1.8% higher or 9%. We used to get 5 to 7% spreads on the inside of NASDAQ before the deregulation and the dot-com. And the only way you do that is with extreme volatility. They're going to watch what happens because that's where the profits are made. And that's why your cycles are dead.
I appreciate Jerry joining Team Cycle. Let's go, Jerry.
Well, again,
I thought I was
it's
Team
not-
Cycle. No, the cycles are dead. Wall Street's in.
So let's differentiate between the 4-year cycle being dead and Bitcoin being a cyclical asset. All assets are cyclical. They're going to have their big price jumps. They're going to have their big price declines. The 4-year cycle, the traditional 4-year cycle that so many people talk about, that's dead. That doesn't mean we're not going to have extreme volatility. Matter of fact, going back to what we were discussing earlier, the creation of these Bitcoin treasury companies, the products that they're going to be spinning out, the structured products, bit bonds, bit annuities. We just saw MicroStrategy come out with a new Stretch, which is essentially a money market fund yielding 9%. All of these products are going to require Bitcoin to be sequestered behind because they back these products. The more Bitcoin you take off the market, the less Bitcoin there is in the available tradable float, the more volatile the asset gets. And this is unlike any other asset Wall Street's seen. Usually as assets mature and assets grow, volatility goes down. This is going to be different. This is going to be a situation where volatility goes higher, the higher Bitcoin goes, the more Bitcoin that's sequestered behind all different types of financial products, from bit mortgages to bit bonds to bit annuities. There's going to be a bit everything that Wall Street's spitting out. I couldn't agree with Jerry more. This is how Wall Street makes money. They create products. Those products have large spreads. They make money off those spreads. Checkmate. That's the game.
So, with your thesis, Darkside, right? That as the money comes up, right? As the value of Bitcoin goes up, right? The change in the schedule of the halvings, right, does not preclude or stop the fact that it's lowering out because the value of each token being mined has gone up so significantly. Like in Gary's thesis, right? And I think all of ours, where we shoot up massively, the fact that the amount of tokens that are being mined become less important because you're still able to mine something that's so significantly value compared to everything else. And so while you're right, the traditional like 4 years, maybe it's a 5-year cycle. It's always been. Maybe it's a 3.5 year. Maybe it's a 4.5 year. Maybe it's a 5 year. But again, I think the combination of this, and it's some of the just most unbelievable genius and synchronicity of the white paper and Satoshi, which is he put the halving cycle on the same psychological cycle that we see across the board, which is why we have these traditional cycles.
I have very little to add other than the more I talk about this and listen to you guys, the more I'm starting to think maybe we just have our little cycle here. We could. Look, the truth is, I don't really think it matters. I mean, if you look at this for a 4 to 8 year old, does it really matter? I would never make a decision on, I'm going to go, and I most certainly would not make the decision that I'm going to move from Bitcoin, smash into some altcoins, thinking that the cycle right now is set up to perform whatever it's supposed to magically do. I mean, Solana just ripped up today, 202. How long do you hold on to that? You know, does it go to 600? Does it go to 800? When do you exit? Actually starting to believe maybe this cycle actually does work. And to Dark's point, look, I have seen energy producers go broke. Like when you mine shit, you're not guaranteed a margin. The Bitcoin community is really confused on this. They have to do it or the system breaks. If you don't mine, you don't have security. Okay, cool, dude, mine, but it doesn't mean you make money doing it. Like I don't think that's a requirement or a guarantee just because you've decided to be in the most difficult part of the value chain. And you don't own any of your own energy, and you don't own any of your own capital or location, Iron's doing it differently. Their cost of production is 2.6 cents, which I think is 2.6 cents too much, but at least they're not 7. I know people with 7. Mars producing $137,000 Bitcoin. That's hard. That's a hard business. So if these companies, and some of them will go broke for sure, man. They're going to go bankrupt. The guys keeping the Bitcoin on the reserve may not go bankrupt, but they're going to get sold. We saw that, Dana. It's going to get sold, right? That's where the liquidations could happen. So but if I'm a miner, man, I'm not really comfortable. Like, I'm most certainly not going to my shareholders going, hey, the cycle's going. I don't think so.
I mean, I'll make a comment real quick that I think it sums things up. Like, everyone thought that miners are, they're like the guardians of the blockchain, right? That's what they started off. Be honest, they're the most vulnerable part of the entire system today, right? Capital intensive,
Most certainly.
Right? Debt loaded, energy dependent, margin starved. And here's the big joke: these aren't rebels in basements anymore, right? That's what we were, right? I remember in New York City, right? And things of that nature. So today, what are they? I mean, and what about the fee market that they're talking about, the narrative? Well, the last time fees spiked is, when meme coin spam was all over every chain and things like that. And the fees were crazy. But here's the bottom line is miners are supposed to support the network. Now they sell into every rally like clockwork for profits because most of them are Wall Street backed, and the little guys still got to pay their SBA loans and they can't even keep up with it. That's why it's done. It's done. That's what I think.
Well, so I and I'll kick it to you, Dark, but like to open up the discussion, I actually think, listen, Bitcoin is the most durable, indestructible, backed by thermodynamics network and store of not just value, but potentially information that's ever been created. And some of the most interesting discussions I'm having on the backside about what to invest in is looking at how to utilize Bitcoin and the blockchain in order to store crucial data in ways that I think are going to be really, really interesting and change the dynamics in a big way. And so I could not agree more with Gary that a lot of what we're seeing, people are going to go broke. That's why the cycle reinforces itself, is that, right? Like, as price goes up, people start making bad decisions. They start thinking that the price can always go up. They get over their skis and they get wrecked and liquidated and bankrupted, which brings us back down and gives us the opportunity. But this shift in what else besides just the raw store of value, the kind of information that needs to be kept in perpetuity, right? Permanently censorship proof. That, as an addition to what this chain is, I think becomes really, really fascinating.
Couldn't agree more, Dustin. I think that's really good point. And that's why I kind of differ from Gary a little bit here when he talks about miners going broke. Sorry about that, Gary. But no, I really believe that block space is going to become so valuable in the future. And because block space is going to become the next commodity, I actually see us one day in the near future having futures on block space where people are actually trading block space in advance. That means that companies like BlackRock, companies like Strategy, nation states are going to need access to block space. And they're going to gain that access space by acquiring miners or going into the mining business themselves. Right? Block space is the future commodity that's really not talked about inside the Bitcoin ecosystem. The value of being able to store data, get your transactions to market, not being able to be censored by anybody, well, that means you control block space, right? So if you want to go down the road of, well, these miners are going to go bust, my prediction is if we see another scenario where miners run into trouble, it's going to be the big boys that step in and buy them, and that will finish that story once and for all.
We have about 2,000 people in the room, actually more than that. So remember to like and subscribe and share. We do this every Tuesday at 5. I have a question. So do you think that now we should be paying less attention then to TA and more around what's going on in specific news channels, or what do you guys think?
I think it's a really smart question. I've never believed the new
Thank you, Justin.
The charts drive the news more than the news drives the charts. Like that talk to anyone who's been doing this a long time, and outside of like very specific black swan events, like it's weird how the news seems to follow wherever the charts lead it to. But I think that we have to take into account like a change. Like, for example, like the previous 4-year cycle, I'm stretching the definition a little bit here, right? In previous years, at this point of the cycle, you could make a ridiculous amount of money by putting a blindfold on, having somebody spin you around, taking a shot, and throwing a dart at some new layer one or some super hyped new chain that was going to be the hot new thing, and it'd go up 900x for you. That is never coming back. Like the money that is here is not rotating out of Bitcoin into a bunch of unproven bullshit startups run by people who can't even put together a deck, right? Like the mind-blowing amount of money that went into some of these NFT projects. Pixelmon raised $100 million, and I have 12-year-olds that would have produced better artwork than they did with 6 months' time. That's never coming back. You're not going to see the kind of irrational driving into a bunch of different brand new tokens that don't have any proof of concept. That doesn't mean that there isn't opportunities that money won't rotate. I just think that it'll be highly more consolidated than we've ever seen before. And so, right, like as far as the cycle goes, we're not going to see the EOS, like just absolute madness that we've seen before, but we're still going to see some meme coins. Right. Actually, I'll make a bold prediction. Within the next week, we'll see a meme coin that launches that within a month will run to $1 billion market cap. But
Let me just go ahead. I want to make a
Yeah,
comment.
I was just gonna say, and Jerry will back this up. But we have an old saying on Wall Street, especially on trading desks. There's a ton of charts on the bottom of the Atlantic with the ships they sunk. Be absolutely terrified of guys touting charts. Charts lead you right to the bottom of the ocean, and as you know, it's tough to get off the bottom once you're there.
Yeah, I keep switching sides. I can't help it, right? I got to tell the truth. I got to be authentic here. I'm sorry. So number one,
But you'll always end up on my side, son.
I know you're right because the Bitcoin side I'm on, but it's hard to deny that one. But listen, guys, block space. Really? It's a toll booth on a highway, guys.
So, he's right, Jerry.
You hear what I said?
See, everybody's bitching about people using runes and stuff like that, but the truth is, if there is capacity sitting somewhere and it's not being used, people are going to monetize it. It's capacity. Use it.
But the capacity is unlimited, and it only gets paid. It's got to be a financial instrument. Solana.
All the Bitcoin people start bitching, going, "Oh, you're going to jam the system up." Well, it's not jammed up right now. It's going to be used, and that's
okay. But what about competitors?
It'll get used for some 7-Eleven porn solution, and then somebody will say, I can pay more for that, and that's where the value. Like, I hope that's where this ends up, but the miners are not going to get paid for energy input plus cost of capital, plus cost of operations, plus cost of G&A, which they get to decide. I'm paying myself $8 million fucking dollars. Plus they get to borrow money at rates much higher than MicroStrategy. It's not like it's so easy for them. And the more these MicroStrategy solutions pop up, there's going to be more capital chasing those and going, fuck, I'm not investing in the mining stuff. I'm going to end up having to write this thing down one day. It's got more risk. Look, most certainly, mining makes no sense relative to what Sailor and I are doing. I'm buying Bitcoin, dude. It's already produced. It literally, oh, wow, there's a gold mine. I can go grab it all. Thank you very much. You guys go make some picks and shovels later. Call me, see how it works out. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a phone call because I own the gold. Like I have it already. This is just like you just bypassed the entire mining process and just gone and bought it. This is a massive opportunity. Like very few people are making money mining Bitcoin, man. Really. You most certainly not making a 25% return, 40% return. No chance. It might be 2%. Now I'm holding on to I own 4 miners, iron. Well, it doesn't even matter what I own. I wouldn't go buy them right now. I think they're getting ready to run. I mean, iron just run $2. There's rumors Meta has to buy something in this space. So that could happen. To Darkside's point, though, where this really all sorts out, when these guys go down into their next cycle, and I'm starting to actually believe there will be a cycle. It may just not be exactly the way that we're doing the cycle now. There will be a 4-ish year cycle, and ExxonMobil and people like that need to move in. Like this is where mining really should be sitting with the greatest engineers on planet Earth. These people know how to build shit. Okay, mega size. Okay, this needs to be sitting with Tesla and NVIDIA. So, the more if I talk it through long enough, you're like, God damn, man, the miners will get bought by these super companies. It's nothing for them to buy a $4 billion, $5 billion company. Nothing. At one time, Elon, his shares were worth so much and he had so much control of the company, he could have bought Ford Motor Company with the stock without going to board. We're going to see that stuff. I mean, NVIDIA is a $4 billion company. Bitcoin's a $4 trillion company. Bitcoin's a $1 trillion industry. So it's interesting. This is actually, I've fought this conversation, but this is actually interesting when you stop screaming at each other on X and you really think it through. Well, the cycle is going to be different, but it could still be a 4-year cycle. Could be. It's just got different players in it, right?
Could you compare NVIDIA and Bitcoin? Just with using more numbers or no?
Maybe with your first of all, I want to say something just to Dustin and Dark, right? Because this is the way I see things. Everything's profit driven, right? So like commodities, blockchain, there's so many different protocols. There's Solana, there's ETH, there's everything, right? Block space is not a commodity. It's not geology. It's not energy. It's not gold, right? It's protocol specific. It's ETH. It's Solana has its own, right? It's not oil coming out of the ground, right? Real commodities are bound by geology. These guys they're toll booths on superhighways. And if another, chain comes out called ABC chain or whatever, and it's backed by Blackstone or BlackRock, it's no longer a commodity. The block spaces will be just keep producing itself and things like that.
But Jerry, the difference is, right, that it's why you can't just go fork Bitcoin and it be the new Bitcoin, right? The fact that the network has been built in a truly decentralized way is what makes it so powerful and indestructible. Now, don't get me wrong. You're right. There are going to be other blockchains and ledger technologies where you store stuff, but what's the premium? If you want to store some information forever, where do you want to put it? It's at the Bitcoin blockchain. And I think once people realize how valuable that space is, that once you claim some of that space, it is part of the most durable, indestructible network that's ever been created. I think the value, I don't think people realize that there's any value right now, but I think that value becomes, think about it for contracts, for laws, for media, for records, like family records. I mean, there is the space.
Why hasn't it been done, Dustin?
It is, but people have, because the finances dominate everything, right? That people, and that the value, right? For the miners, though, we're going after the next halving. We go into a period where for the next 100 years, it's dramatically different than it's been up till this point, which is there's going to have to be other financial incentives in order for the miners to be able to continue to maintain the network. And I think that incentive can be found in the indestructible nature of being able to store not just value, but information.
And let me take that to the next level, Dustin. I'm not a big fan of spamming the chain, but I'll give you one killer app. We could actually solve our entire election integrity issue with the Bitcoin blockchain. And you can't do that with Solana. You can't do it with Ethereum. You can't do it with Base or any other chain. And the reason why is because you don't know in the Bitcoin blockchain or in the network which ASIC machine is going to be preparing and posting the next block. Nobody knows. That's what makes it so indestructible, right? If we want to solve our election integrity issue, we could use the Bitcoin blockchain. There'd be no doubt. There'd be no double counting. There'd be no machines flipping votes. Everything would be auditable and verifiable by the entire community, right? That's the killer app. And only the Bitcoin blockchain, only that valuable block space on the Bitcoin network can solve that problem.
Without doubt.
Muted, Jerry.
Yep.
Until they compromise it. And now that's a great debate. Okay. I know we can go into that debate, right? But I will tell you, until it is compromised, right? I personally worked at a Fortune 500 company where they had to go dark software. I had to sign an NDA. I can't even disclose it because the attacks were so bad. And if they didn't go dark for 48 hours, and this is defense based, okay, they had to go dark for 48 hours. We had to sign an NDA to disconnect from the internet because if one channel was open, it was destroyed. And we're talking government. We're talking about defense. So, and I agree with you, right? In a perfect world, yeah, until every technology since the beginning of Alexander the Great somehow has been disrupted or taken down or compromised, right? And yes, this may be the period of this blockchain, and I agree with you. Today, it's the most secure that we have, but there's always going to be that risk. Therefore, that's why you have the Solanas. That's why you have the Ethereums. That's why you have centralization, which is another debate that can monitor that. That's why you have Bitcoin doesn't build skyscrapers, banks do, and SIPC will ensure the consumer's money to $250,000 to $500,000. That's why we still need government. And the world of decentralization, it's going to be very difficult, but that's another topic. So I want to make that point. And by the way, technical analysis is the only way for the masses to try to keep up because they're not on the inside in the boardrooms of BlackRock. They're not on the inside boardrooms of Goldman Sachs. I used to work on Wall Street. They used to say, sell this stock because we got too much inventory and we're going to put a buy on it. Okay, with the S&P, then they do this and that, and they recommend it to the public. But that's only because they had too much inventory. You understand? So the point is it's the institutions will always make money.
Millions are chanting for relief.
Right. But mom and pop out there, right? The baby boomers,
Mom and pop
created Wall Street, and they have to invest with their financial advisors and pay them a fee. Then they'll be okay.
But Jerry,
Hey.
you can't expect people investing $30,000 to be able to do technical analysis. This is the beauty behind Bitcoin. I just have to say this is not part of the debate. The beauty behind Bitcoin is you have supply and demand fundamentals that I don't need to look at TA. Only TA I need to look at is a chart. Got a 1 week candle on it. And I go back as long as I want. Go, hey, I'm investing for a long term. I don't care what it does on a Saturday afternoon at 2 a.m. I don't care. Okay, I don't look at my house and go, ooh, I just lost $2 million from my house. Somebody came in and bid me $2 million less than they did last week, and now I don't do that, man. We treat our assets so differently than each other. I don't understand why we do this. It must be a lack of education. I just don't see people that aren't in the markets doing technical analysis. Maybe the robots will do it for them, but that's the cool thing about this asset class, man. You can invest in this thing. It's like putting money under your pillow, and you know it's going to grow by 15, 20, 30%. Listen to what we're talking about. The crypto community is crazy. fucking nuts crazy, okay? If I showed you a 12% return over 10 years and you put $1 million to work, you would have $3.5 to $4 million in that term. Okay, and take some zeros off. It's 100 grand. I mean, that's an awesome return. 12% returns. My brother's made so many rich people on a 6% yield, man. Okay, and he takes a clip. So, Jerry, everybody on this panel has been doing this for a long time. You've never seen anything like this before, ever. There's 200 years of investment experience here. No one's ever seen anything like this. And I know that because everybody that's in it now didn't like it when it first looked at it. It's like, I don't get that shit. Not one human being said, oh yeah, I'm all in, let's roll. Maybe if they had $100.
Let's be honest, the best TNA, we look at it every day, and it doesn't stand for technical analysis.
Dark, was it you or Gary that said, oh, isn't it interesting that we have to have like the end of the world or some sort of apocalypse in order to be anti-Bitcoin? Who said that? I think that was you, Dark.
No, I'm not sure. The end
Maybe
of the
Gary.
world. Yeah.
Some sort of like outage or massive problem.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, is it an EMP? Is it a quantum attack? These are the things you hear from the typical Wall Street doomers that are kind of trying to protect their existing system. No, if an EMP comes, the least of your problems is the Bitcoin network. If quantum attack comes, the least of your problem is the Bitcoin network. You're going to have nukes flying over your head. I think Gary said it best. What makes you think that if they can control every computer system on earth, they're going to come for you and your Bitcoin? I mean, get real. Get real.
It's like a form of narcissism, probably.
Well, no, it's a form of doomerism. And the Wall Street crowd is extremely, extremely threatened by Bitcoin, right? It kills off commissions, as Gary was explaining, just invest and forget about it. It kills off RIAs. It kills so many of their models. And then you look at these bit bonds and what MicroStrategy is doing, or Strategy is doing with their perpetual preferred. Soon 21 is going to be doing with structured products. This is going to revolutionize the world of Wall Street. Everything's about to change. The life as they knew it. Think about guys selling annuities with a 6.5% front end load, right? What's going to happen to them? They're nearly done. That game's going to change fast.
Yeah, see, the thing I would be worried about right now in this next 4-year cycle, I would be worried about my other investments. It's amazing how many people spend time on this, but hey, why don't you go look at all your other stuff? Because you're 90% in that. I mean, everyone is in that space. Your job is literally something that you're so not decentralized on, not diversified on. It's 100% of your deal. In fact, this whole stream of people, we probably have the most diversified income streams of most of the people watching this. Like, we just have a bunch of we just built our world that way. But if you have assets sitting in the legacy world and you hate what we're saying here, you should be looking at, hey, these guys, what if they're right? 80, 90% of your entire story, your present and your future, because the past does not matter. Your future is literally hinged on a system that I'm betting against like a fucking crazy guy. I've never known anybody that wins betting against me like when I do this. It's not me beating anybody up either, but you're going to be wrong. This is exactly, it's so clear what's happening. And the only people that can't see it is the people that it's happening to. You don't want to see that, right? You're like, oh, wow, I'll deal with it 6 months from now. I was with, sorry to take so much time, but I was with Matt Hogan of Bitwise yesterday, investment. And he's been in that trade for 7 years now. He said, Gary, we so grossly underestimated the money that was going to pour into this thing. We got it so wrong, it's stupid. I mean, everybody and their brother, he put 7 years of his life into it. He's like, we weren't even close. I'm telling you, this is going to be bigger than the most extreme Bitcoin views. This is going to be really, really big. And NVIDIA, United Healthcare lost $300 billion of value in 3 days. 3 days. That's never happened. Okay. That is 3 to 4 times the size of Enron. And it's still surviving. It's still like, wow. And people are bragging about buying $250 stock. I wouldn't own that shit at $250. It's at $300 right now. But if a company like that's been around, it's essential to the world, to at least America. NVIDIA moved $250 billion up. I don't think people understand what Bitcoin's going to do. You should be surprised if you're surprised by a $100,000 1 week move. I mean, seriously.
I know you guys
Well,
are commenting on Gary's
Yeah.
microphone. Speaking on internet, I think you're having some storms over there, aren't you, Gary?
No, I'm good, but it's not good. That sounds bad.
Maybe try moving closer. I'm actually in California right now, being in the storms in Florida, and then in California, they spray paint all the grass green. So there's like no water. It's the opposite. I think
Thanks,
just
Newsom.
What does that have to do with microphone?
I thought you were going through internet issue.
No, Dana, you're in
Because of
California.
storms.
Do you know what the government's like over there? Come on. It's you.
I don't worry about it.
I'm just kidding. By the way, there could
What
be
do you
a
have to-
debate over California one day, because if the
I actually do too. Yeah.
there's a billionaire about to run on the Democratic ticket. If he wins, he's going to try to bring business back to California. And just like your brother, right? There could be an opportunity, but it's a long shot. But that's another thing. So I'm assuming we're an hour, so we're going to wind it down. So I'll just leave my closing
But
comments.
we've
for you
already
guys.
won. We've already won. It usually gets wound down when the winner's established. Justin,
Oh, okay.
again, good job, buddy. Awesome.
Cool.
Right, but I'll just say, and then you guys can
A little
slam
boring
me.
winning time.
Listen, the 4-year cycle. By the way, if you want my favorite stock for the future, for the next NVIDIA, PLTR. Look it up. I think it's your next NVIDIA over the next 5 years.
PLTR, that's Palantir, right?
That's right. I've been in it for 3 years, man, and I do not think it's overvalued. So that's
What a
again.
run you've
but
been
I-
on. Did you
Yeah,
buy
but listen,
you buy some size?
I get some size. Yeah, if you don't, not you. I'm not all in like with one thing like you, but no. But I think that's the next. No, I think it's the next Google, NVIDIA market cap. It's still got, it 10 times away from those market caps, and it keeps growing. And now the
See, I
government's
can't
involved.
invest in Palantir. Just fun philosophically, I can't do it. I have the if I
I
didn't
know.
have the ability to buy Bitcoin, they make a lot of really bad weapons, man. I just don't want to do.
And now they're going on the corporate side. AI, it's a new tech, guys, right? And they'll figure out how AI can interact with the blockchains. It's going to come, and I think that'll be the leader down the road. But long story short, number one, I just wanted to thank you guys for having me here all the time. I do agree that Bitcoin, if you're mom and pop out there, you forget TNA and all that kind of stuff, or if you're Gary, or if you're freaking MM crypto, right? Maximus, I agree. You put it under your pillow, and you're going to look up 5 to 7 years. And I think it can really create wealth for those who don't understand. The key is just don't look at it. Just buy it. I don't care if you buy it on Coinbase personally, or I don't care if you buy it on Robinhood. I don't know. But you don't need to be advanced. And I agree with the opportunity that exists. And these opportunities only come around every 15, 18, 20 years, things of that nature. So I agree. 100%, and I'm all in with you. But I do believe the 4-year cycle is over. It's not, the kids don't run this playground anymore. Wall Street does. It's not hopium or, having Meaves and all that. It's now structured. It's inflows, it's quarterly meetings, it's earnings. Bitcoin's not fighting the system now. It is the system. That's what I want you guys to understand. And the 4-year cycle died the moment that Larry Fink bought in. It's just Wall Street's new structured product. And that's why we and those people out there that are watching us can do well with it, because it is their new product. And I love it because of that reason. But forget the 4-year cycle. It's going to revolve around the Fed meeting. And that's what is already happening. You see it daily, right? We see it. And the remnants of the altcoin cycles, because that's still the kiddie playground to some degree. Now we saw Ethereum run up, Solana run up. We did Bitcoin, right? And I think you're in full-blown alt season right now. My AVAX shot up, everything, right? And I think if Ethereum breaks 4,000, we're going to have another run. But then I'm done first week of August, second week of August. I'm out of that crap, right? I just don't believe it. That's kiddie ground. But Bitcoin will be here and it'll stay here. And now it will be Wall Street's darling for at least 5 to 7. So I'm all in.
You know what I love about Bitcoin the most is that the brilliance of how it was set up has literally taken everybody who thought that they were going to bend Bitcoin to their will and smashed their face in with the laws of thermodynamics and the indestructible durability of the network and proof of work. And so I am looking forward to the generous helping of humble pie that is coming for the Wall Street dudes who think that they're going to take Bitcoin and bend it to their will instead of like being forced into a system that is far more equitable and far more serious and frankly, far more better for humanity than any of the systems that they've ever dealt with before. That's the beauty of Bitcoin.
Agree again, Dustin. 100%. Look, I saw Lax posted TradFi is becoming the new BitFi. Man, I think that nails it, right? BitFi is going to take over TradFi. The Wall Street that we're talking about is going to change. It's going to become dominated by new players. Sailor's going to be right at the top of the heap. 21's going to be at the top of the heap. The new players that own the most pristine collateral in the world are going to dominate the game. The structured products that come off of it are going to reshape the free cost of money as we know it today. The treasuries might yield 4% or lower, but you're going to be able to get 9%, 10% on Bitcoin-backed products. The world's going to change. It's going to reshape real estate. It's going to reshape every investment that you think you know. And to Gary's point, don't worry about Bitcoin. Worry about your investments. Your investments outside of the Bitcoin space are in dire shape. They may not look so, but that's coming. It's around the corner. Watch out for BitFi.
All right, Gary, last words.
Yeah. Yeah, just on the last comment, look, you know, if the whole stock market were to tank out, NVIDIA is going with it. I mean, everything's going with it, right? Bitcoin will go with it. But I like that we should be maybe focused on, hey, what other assets do you have that, I mean, most people's position in this Bitcoin is so small that why worry about the 4-year cycle? Worry about the 80 or 90%. See what you can do to upgrade your current portfolio. Like just help your family and friends with the portfolio that's not working for them. I use it. That's how I pitch Bitcoin. Let me see what else your portfolio is doing. If they're doing 40% a year, dude, I have nothing to talk to them about, right? But most people aren't doing that. In fact, very few people are doing that. I thought it was I think it's actually, it turned out to be a good debate, although I didn't see the debate having, you know, really bifurcated right, wrong, plus negative. Maybe I'm just confused on debates, but this actually helped me think through maybe the 4-year cycle. What if we never talk about, what if the 4-year cycle actually is different, but it's better? Would you want to miss that? I'm sure it's not going to be worse. I don't think I'm going to get an 80% drawdown unless I get an opportunity to sell at $800,000. I could see that. Okay. Y'all agree? 800 grand gets pulled back to 80. Guess what? That's 64 G's. We're right back in 64, 75, 80, 90 land. And that means the cycle's still on. Why? I don't know, but it should be. But it could easily, you know, anyway, I do not want to wake up in 4 years and go, wow, dude, I could have bought another 50 Bitcoin and I didn't. Now I only get to buy 3. Whoa. I could have bought 50. Now I can only buy 3. That's a 4-year cycle, man. That's painful. Painful. Just a year ago, you could have bought, $70,000 Bitcoin. Okay, $350,000. No, $350,000 would have bought you, 30 Bitcoin. Now it's anyway.
No, and that's why these debates are so good. I mean, I even wrote down 3 or 4 things, from Dustin, from you, from Darks. Like, these debates are good. I like the format. It gets me thinking, right? And they're challenging. And I'm like, shit.
Everybody's going to end up allocating more to Bitcoin. Because when you go through it, and you're like, oh, wow, you know what? I think I'm under allocated.
What's funny is I started wondering how I was going to make an argument, and I'm so convincing. I convinced myself halfway through. Like, man, that was really good argument, bro. Good job.
You had me convinced. I wrote down BitFi, and I wrote down I'm like, all right, maybe I'm overthinking my strategy here.
I also know, like that's why I encourage people. Sorry, Gary, but I encourage people seriously take sides that you don't usually argue, and you might surprise yourself because it helps you think it through, and like it helps you see the bigger picture. Like I'm not even convinced. When I started, both me and Gary were like, "Oh yeah, Dark Side, you go." And I was trying to formulate how I was going to argue that the cycle was going to continue. And as we went through, I'm like, "Wow, that really made a lot of sense." I
jumped sides 3 times.
I don't know what happened. I blacked out there for a minute, but it sounded good.
Listen, I would just like to change gears just really slightly, just for the audience. Dark and I were on a space today with about 1,000 people, maybe a couple thousand people in the room. And it's not a space that's really very Bitcoinish. It's a political space. And I see so many of these people now that we're getting some really good communicators in here. I'm seeing some people really move. I mean, they a little bit like Jerry. Jerry, hey, the more I talk about this, like, maybe I should do a little more, right? And I'm not making fun of it. I think this happens to everyone. And that comment, Dark, were you stunned? That guy's like, they're all going to go, oh shit, I am not allocated enough here. If we don't make them wrong.
Yeah.
The last 4 years, we've actually made a lot of people wrong about what they were doing. It's not a way to sell to people. Okay, you got to welcome them in and don't make them wrong.
You brought up a different stat at the last debate. You said only 3% of billionaires in the world are in Bitcoin. I'm researching your stat, and I'm validating it, and that made me really think.
You cannot find 100 billionaires in Bitcoin.
Right.
If they are, we don't even know who the fuck they are. That's
right.
There's 16 that I can find that I know. The rest of them are Bitcoiners. And I know I've got a friend that said he thinks there's 500 of us. I don't think so. I don't think so either. Hold on to this money. They're getting ready to hold on to this money though. It's going to be awesome. I mean, you're going to see a massive transfer of power and wealth. They come together, man. They come together. And why anyone would want to miss this opportunity, if I'm wrong, wow, what a great thing to be wrong on, because I'm still going to be rich. Okay. If I'm right, oh my God, I took the right steps at the right time. I didn't get hoodwinked on, oh, it's 117. Shit, it's 117 and sailors buying it like a sailor. I mean, just stack and pack. And 40 people behind them, stack it and pack it.
And it's crazy.
I'm never going to get pushed out of my Bitcoin because I'm not rehypothecating it. I'm not offering 9%. I'm not offering all these weird deals, dude. I'm just going to be Mr. Spooky with my Bitcoin. One day I'm going to get the phone call. I have enough Bitcoin. I will get a phone call. Hey, man, we need 500 Bitcoin. We need 800 more Bitcoin. We need 1,000 Bitcoin.
It's funny, right? Like the billionaires, how they work. And you guys will love this because I'm heavy in the South Florida commercial real estate. So, there's a rumor, and where there's smoke, there's fire, that Mark Zuckerberg is buying in Indian Creek. I mean, come on. Really? Next to Tom Brady, next to Trump, next to all the billionaires? Of course he really? Is, the biggest freaking liberal that fucking supported the whole fucking Democrat Party, fucking the votes, the this, the that. I mean, really? And all of a sudden,
Jerry,
buying next to Ivanka Trump and Brady and Bezos?
Fucking hypocrites. They're buying a miner, Jerry. That's the
What's
trade.
that?
Meta is looking at buying a miner because they're
Yeah.
going to want to get into this high compute space.
It just
I-
shows you how fast these billionaires flip this fucking script.
Jerry,
Like that.
I have a thesis on Zuckerberg. Like, it's what happens when you're pure low T. Like there, look at his physical transformation and tell me that the guy didn't get his testosterone levels figured out. And now he's a whole different person.
Right. He's a whole different person than he was. I mean, 8 years ago, he was sponsoring, RVs to drive into California and get illegals to vote, right? I mean, like crazy stuff. And now he's going to live in Miami, right? Like a billionaire row. You don't think he owns? I mean, it's just crazy how fast they flip the script when the big powers fall with disruption, right? And that's exactly what happened, man. So that's why. So I'll shut up from now. But it's just like, you guys are right. I mean, I listened to you for years, for decades, right? It's just, it's like I sometimes tend to go with them from an investment thesis. It doesn't mean I like them. And it put me in a room, I'll call you a fucking hypocrite, right? I'm a fucking country boy, right? But it's crazy that the masses don't see it like you guys do, or like we do. I'm not as big of a rebel as you guys. I ride their waves because, when a big fucking wave comes, you ride it, right? And even if I suck, I still, make some money. That's why I'm in Bitcoin. But I just wanted to bring that up because of the topics here.
All right, we're going to wrap this up because Gary has a hot date. So we're going to vote on Gary's Twitter page still, even though I think the conclusion is kind of like, doesn't matter. Investment strategy is the same.
What's
Whether
the vote going to be? Is Gary getting laid tonight?
What did you say?
You're going to do a vote? Is Gary getting laid tonight?
Yeah, I'll put that
yes.
up too.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to the Coldplay concert on Saturday night. It's here in Miami.
Are you really?
Of course. Coldplay's
Yeah, we look forward
fantastic.
to you reenacting that out then. Good luck. Send us a clip.
I'm good. I'm like you, Gary.
I was wondering if that was
I'm
like
single.
a setup. Like imagine if that was a setup just to get some sort of like attention, the attention economy. I didn't know who this guy was or his company. I had no idea who this guy was. It's genius.
Most expensive
Everywhere.
concert tickets of all time.
Has she been
Okay,
fired yet? Has the chick been fired yet? No.
I don't think so.
Chick, HR, she doesn't get fired.
Yes,
That's
she's got to go.
Listen, the
Really?
company's
But
based in
he's gonna get
California.
head of HR.
They're based in California. You got to go to
Can't make
labor
me shut
boards.
up.
You can't even fire people in California.
She was probably getting 180 a year. What a waste. All right, guys, peace out. I'm gonna go.
Okay, we need some.
Thanks, guys.
We need some
Love you all.
topics, guys. Comment.
Thanks, everybody.
See you next week, Tuesday.
Hey,
5
hey,
p.m.
guys, thank you everybody for participating.
cheers.
And thank you to the audience. You guys
You two
follow
guys are great.
Follow Jerry Katz, follow Dustin, follow Dana Howe, and